Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on the time you are watching and listening to us. Today we have invited Giuliana Costa, Giuliana Vieira da Costa, who is discussing an interesting subject, something like, what could I write about when we don't know what to write about? And she is going to give us her experience as well with her first book. She is presenting from South Africa. And let me just introduce Giuliana for you. Giuliana was born in 1977 in the city of Itapira, state of São Paulo, Brazil. She has a degree in geology from the State University of São Paulo, UNESP, has specialized and researches in the area of minerals and mining, particularly in Africa. Giuliana has an MBA from the Fundação Getúlio Vargas, Masters and a PhD in Economic Geology from the University of Johannesburg in South Africa. And she studies conscienciology since 2010, has published 5 articles in Conscienciology magazines, 18 verbats in the Encyclopedia of Conscienciology. She is the author of the book Autobiography of a Consecutive Personality, Experiencing Africa Under the Consciential Paradigm, which exists in Portuguese and we hope that not in too many months, also in English. It will be published in English as well. She's a Penta practitioner since 2015, and she is a volunteer with Reaprendencia. So I give you Giuliana.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, everybody, to join us in this conversation. So today I'll present some of my experiences writing in conscienciology while living abroad, not living in Brazil. So my intention here is to help you to decide what to write in conscienciology if you pretend to write, which I think everyone wants to do. So I'll present, besides my experience, some tips that you might use, and
somebody the conscienciology dog
with the mic on.
Sorry.
And this is an informal presentation. If you want to make any questions, feel free to just stop me and ask your questions. You don't need to leave to ask at the end of the presentation. Okay? So the contents of my presentation is what to write. What do I want to write in conscienciology? There's so many subjects, so many things that we can write about. There's so many fields in this new science that we rely on, that we identify ourselves, that sometimes we feel lost. Sometimes we start to take some notes, to write something, but we end up anywhere. We don't do anything. We don't publish anything because we have so many difficulties. So we don't do anything. We end up demotivated, so we debate that. We try to emphasize the importance of self-research, so research about yourself, the importance of that and how to use that, publishing in conscienciology, and where to begin. How do I begin to write in conscienciology? What is the first step to move on, to break this barrier of fear, of criticism, to expose yourself to others by writing? And why do I want to write a specific subject? What happens is sometimes we want to write about something, but there's nothing published. we've heard Valdo Vieira talking about in a tertulia, or somebody has just spoke about something or just a word, and then you want to write about that, but there's nothing. So how to start that? The challenges of writing. What is my difficulties to write? Do I have excuses? Do I have difficulties in writing, to express myself writing? Because some people, it's very good on talking, on express themselves talking to other people, socializing. But when it comes to writing, to publish something, they have this barrier, they freeze. And then I'll present my self-example. How did I write my first conscienciological book? So how did that happen? What was the challenges that I had to overcome my difficulties, my fears, my counterflows, my self-research, and everything that happened in this process that was not happen like in a couple of months. It took years. And that's something that it might happen to you. And you are welcome to share your experiences here as well, and take this presentation as an opportunity to open yourselves and try to overcome that something you never have a chance to do so. Okay, so what to write? Do you know what you want to write, or you don't want to write at all? What is your main goal in studying conscienciology? It's just curiosity? It's just like a hobby? Or is something that you really want to do and leave your mark in this world for yourself in your next life? So in my experience, my first attempt to write a book, not a verbatim, not an article in conscienciology, but my first attempt was to write about consciential autonomy. It was something that I thought to myself, I identify with that. I'm living in a way that I need to have self-autonomy all the time. Sometimes I don't rely on anybody else, because I was working in Africa. I was facing a lot of challenges, intraphysical and interconsciential. It was like a roller coaster in my life. And I thought to myself, oh, this is a good subject. I like that. So I was reading verbatims, I was doing some research, and then I sit to write. And I didn't have any ideas. There was nothing coming to my mind to write about that. I did write a couple of pages, but at some point I was stuck, because there's nothing that I can write about it. So when you first try to write something in conscienciology about a specific subject that you have this kind of identity, you ask yourself, why do I want to write about this? Or maybe, there's something that I feel like very motivated, and then it happens like happened to me. I get stuck and then I stop it. And then what I did, my self-research was about cosmoetic infiltration. But there was no publication except one verbet at that time. And that was 10 years ago. So I went to a consultation with UNIESCON. It was a consultation on Skype with 2 or 3 writers. And they told me, look, Giuliana, there's nothing published about that. It's something that nobody knows about it. Professor Valdo only talked about this in one verbatim. Why don't you continue your research? You can write verbatims, you can write the articles, but not a book at this moment, because I think it's too early for you to do that. So I followed that suggestion at that time. So I keep doing that, and I keep doing my self-research into this topic. How did I do that? Keeping notice, making records of everything about this, paraperceptions, things that I was asking to Professor Valdo Vieira when I was in Iguaçu Falls. So that was what happened to me. It was a long, long time. And still today, I didn't publish a book about cosmetic infiltration 10 years after that consultation. I'm still looking to do that. If somebody wants to ask something? So in this case, I want to emphasize how important is self-research. How is important for yourself to create your personal database with your own experiences. That is the most important thing to do it. So nothing will replace your own experience in conscientiology, in writing about it, an article, a verbete, or a book. And the parapsychics, some people think, I don't have any paraperception. I think I'm not very involved in that area. So you can put an effort and develop your parapsychism, even living abroad or alone. You can use techniques that are published in the Encyclopedia of Conscientiology, or even looking for the dozens of the videos you have now on YouTube talking about parapsychism, and try those techniques. So in the meantime, you're not writing your book, you're writing something. You're writing your experiences, you're making notes, you will record everything that happened to you. So that is the most important thing. And at the same time, use the opportunity to debate your subject. For example, you are doing a research about a subject, and then write a verbete, write an article, and take an opportunity to debate that. If you don't have a space like this, like I'm having now at the moment, try with a friend in conscientiology, or make a group of people that you think you can rely on and debate this subject in a very positive way, with positive criticism, people that can support you in those ideas. So this, I think, it's very important. So that happened to me. So regarding debating the subject, I have the opportunity to have a
Giuliana, can I just ask something? Now that you're talking about writing in the meantime articles and verbetes, let's remind people that you have indeed published 5 articles and 18 verbetes. And if you want to talk about them, so to give people an idea, you know, how you progressed with that, before writing the book.
Well, I started to write about prejudice. It was my first verbete. So if you look at the subjects of my verbetes that I published, they were all negative subjects. It's slavery, concentration camps, genocide. It was like those kind of things that I want to talk about it because nobody wanted. And it was, in a way, part of my self-research, because I was living in Africa, I was seeing this kind of things here that happen all the time. I was reading news about conflicts, coups, and I was in Mali during the CUP. So I did write about cosmetic infiltration in one verbete, and I did write, all my articles were about infiltration cosmetic. And then I took the opportunity also to debate about this subject in the Metasomatic Circle in 2012, that I was invited to debate that. And after this debate, I wrote an article that was published at Consciência magazine. All my articles, most of my articles are published in Consciência magazine. And after that, I had an opportunity to participate in the existential balance in Iguaçu Falls in 2013 that I talked about this subject. So it's something that you have to push and try to get people's attention about what you are doing. And then show to people that you are writing, you are put some effort, you want to debate that. And then that was my case. People started to invite me to talk about my experiences. So they want to know what was happening. That was something different. And this might happen to you. Why not? And I was continuously doing myself research all the time. And I was still wanted to write about infiltration cosmetic, but I didn't have enough material at that point until today. I still have some material now to publish a book about that, but I still need to compile everything and try to see if I can publish a book. But I did start to write about that. And during my self-research about infiltration cosmetic, I did face this new turn on my research that was the consecutive personality, that it opened a parenthesis in my research of infiltration cosmetic. I thought to myself, what is the link between this discovery, this new direction in my research with infiltration cosmetic? Is something related to what is the, I couldn't see any link between those two subjects because for me they were too different. And then I discovered that during this research, there was a link between what happened in the past, in my past life, and what was happening today in this condition of cosmetic infiltrated and living in Africa. So there was a connection that at the beginning I couldn't see. I couldn't figure out what was the main goal of that. And for years and years and years, I was asking to myself, to the helpers, what is this about it? Because this personality that I discovered that I was in my last interphysical life, I helped a lot of people in Africa. So why am I here now, infiltrated? What I'm doing? What did I do wrong? What was my mistake? So it took me 7 years to figure out what I was doing here. So even after that, I still think there's more details that I need to sort it out, to put things right and clarify things like 100%, because I know what it is, but I think there's more than that I discovered, that I have to solve things that I didn't do right here in Africa regarding politics and the people I was involved at that time in South Africa, where I'm living today. So things in self-research are like this. You are going in one direction, and suddenly you got something, some information, some facts or parafacts that take you in a completely different direction. And then you stuck, and then you think to yourself, so what is going on? So what is the connection with those things? How can I use that today in an evolutive way and try to help people with this information and publish this? Because I think writing is a very powerful tool to help people, not only in intraphysical life, but also extraphysical consciousness that might be in that environment you're writing. So for me, this is the most important thing in self-research, because if you discover something, if you have a new idea, you don't publish. So it's something that is lost. So it doesn't make any sense. So in that sense, ask yourself, why do I want to write about this subject? Is that a priority to myself? Do I identify with it? Like I said in the beginning of the presentation, I was identified myself with consensual autonomy, but I didn't have any ideas to write about it. I couldn't, I get stuck and then I stop it. I thought, this is not for me. It's not for me to write this, so just leave it for now. And I kept all my records, all my writings, maybe someday, but not at that time, at that moment of my life. Have I studied enough to publish something? Did I read everything about that subject that everybody published, not only in conscientiology, because sometimes some subject got some different view in a different paradigm. Can I compare those two paradigms and make something else, something useful that makes sense, that is logical for me and for others? And not only study the subject, but what about my self-research? Because conscientiology for me, it's more about self-research than only about research. Those two things must walk together, walk along together to make sense. Have I planned it during the intermissive course? In my example, did I plan to write about consensual autonomy? Maybe not. Maybe I did study that in the intermissive course. That's why I was so interested in that subject. But maybe it's not for me. It's not my priority to write that. It's to write something else, something more important that I planned to do here than that subject. How do I feel about it when I write? Do I feel like, no, this is what I want to write? I feel I am on the right direction. It's your internal, your consciential compass in the right direction to write. Is that what you really want? What you did plan to write or not? Do you feel good, or do you feel it's like an obligation to write? I think in conscientiology, not is an obligation. It's something that you need to have pleasure to write and feel that you will help people, that your group that you need to help is related to your writing. It's okay for here now if you want to ask something. I think I'm talking a lot. You can please stop and make your questions, please. And here's some challenges of writing. So some people have different difficulties. So those examples that I'm putting here are some, I didn't have many difficulties to write, I must say, but I know some people that I've been talking to in conscientiology that they are afraid that they have those difficulties to write. So afraid of judgment. Some people, they don't want to be judged. You'll be judged anyway. The main thing, you have to be in peace with yourself, that you did the right thing, that you are helping people, and that's it. Because people will talk anyway, good things, bad things, that happen in life. So move on, right? Extra physical pressure. Some people are afraid of that. And this will happen anyway, and you have to face it. Is the challenge of this life to have pressure. If you don't have pressure, it means your work is not expressive enough, is not so important. Otherwise, you wouldn't have it. So when you move along, there are people throwing stones in your way, and you have to move them out of your way and keep moving to get where you want to be. Language. I know some of you doesn't speak Portuguese. You don't know Portuguese. It is a barrier, for example, to write a verbete because it is published in Portuguese. But why not learn Portuguese? It is a difficult language. It is. Some people say, no, it's difficult. You're Brazilians, and Brazilians speak a very good English, so, but you can write a book in English, and you can have this book translated into Portuguese. You can ask somebody to help you to do that. I did that now with my first book.
And if
Yes,
I may,
Giuliana.
if I may add something, this is
Yes.
also the purpose of the bridge writers, to make people, some people I have talked to and said, oh, I'm not the target person. You say, yes, you are. Because the people that on the other side are Portuguese speakers, but they know another language. They don't know another language just by, why? So they know another language to use it. And because we've been there in other lifetimes using that language as well. So it's also a challenge, but we, as much as we want to, we will never be able to translate all the conscienciology books from Portuguese to English. So what we need is people also writing in other languages, Spanish, English, and then we will do the opposite. We will translate to Portuguese. That's fine. So we need both things. It needs to be a flow. The need of exchange of ideas and energies and experiences needs to be a flow, like a chakra, in and out. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, is there some conscienciological magazine in English?
We are there's been just, Consciencia has like, there's one all in English. We are now asking for articles. For one, we want for 2021, next year, for the International Week, we want to do a Consciencia all in English. So we are asking for articles. Doesn't matter the language, we will translate, we will revise whatever it's needed. We want to put it in English. And in the future, we are thinking of doing, because we no longer have the Journal of Conscienciology, we are thinking of doing, something just in English and Spanish, maybe, to be able to,
to create a publication.
Also there is some magazines that publish in Spanish and English. I know that Glasnost, the magazine from Conscious, does it. It accepts articles in different languages, in Spanish and in English.
Yes, Lane is reminding us here that there is also the magazine Interparadigmas.
And in French.
In French.
In French.
Oh, wow.
Yes, well, very good, Marcel.
It will be next year, maybe.
Okay, very good news. So yes, we also have Interparadigmas. So the ones that have more, that are more alive, and and we want to do even more with that is so Consciencia, Interparadigmas, Glasnost, as Caroline just mentioned. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, there are platforms that people can use to publish in English and other languages, not only in Portuguese.
Yes, we want to activate that more, motivate people and have more people, bringing. And so we just sent now in the ISIC cons, in the ISIC International, an invitation for, for works to come for this magazine Consciencia that we want to publish for the International Week 2021.
Okay.
You are invited. You are invited.
To send
and everyone is.
So some people are good writers, but they are lazy. Some people write better than me, much better than me, And I told them, you're a good writer, you should publish more. Oh, no, I don't want to publish. Over criticism. Some people are very, so over criticism and perfectionism, I think for me, they work together. Because if you think about being perfectionism and review your writing so many times and be afraid to send to the editors, you never publish. So if your book is in a good way, you have everything like almost ready, just send to the editors, because they will review a lot of times, not only one person, not only one time. So this will be a barrier. Use of a different style. And here I'm giving the example of academic. Some people are very good in publishing academic articles for international journals, scientific journals. But when it comes to conscienciology, they get stuck because it's a very different way of writing. We use different terms, different way of writing. We use self-research, what doesn't happen in the academic world, academic way of writing, because the object of the research is not you, it's something else. So that sometimes is the main difficulty of people that is so used to writing academic, is that they get this barrier in conscienciology. Now I will talk about my personal experience. So how did I write my first conscienciology book? So how did I write my book? That was out last year in December, and I went to Iguaçu Falls this year to do all the release and all the formalities at the CEAEC. So I was like a guinea pig, during the second CEAEXological Forum, because I was studying this consecutive personality that at that time in 2014, consecutivos was not an institution. So they invited me to this event. And during the works with the energy, with the epicom, Astrophysical Consciousness asked me to write about my experiences in Africa. And I thought to myself, how I will do that? How can I write my experiences so far? What I did, I took all my records, all my notes, and I did a delimitation time of 6 years in Africa to write this book. I thought to myself, I'll start with my research when I moved to Mali until now. At that time, I decided to live here in South Africa in 2013. I was studying my Penta. I was doing the instructor course of conscienciology. I was doing a lot of things at the same time. And then I started to write. I basically start to write. So at that time, I used UNIESCON again, a course for writers that they normally have, that helped me a lot. Because
if I may add, we are planning on having that course in English. It will take still a bit of time, but we are working on that.
Oh, good.
This
it helps. It helps. Use UNIESCON to help you to write, because they have a lot of experience and can help you in your process of that. So what I thought to myself, because To present my experiences, I have to write an autobiography. So I have to write about my life until that moment. So how do I do that? Because I can write many autobiographies from many different points of views. I could write a biography basically on my African experiences, intraphysical experiences with people, with companies, with different countries. But then I decided, no, I have to write from the point of view of the conscienciological paradigm. So that's what I did. So I used all my notes of my parapsychism lab that I created, living in different countries, and then I put that in the book. And then I also used that to expand my research on cosmetic infiltration to support my book on that subject that I'm still aiming to write about it. So one thing that I need to be very careful writing the book was not to expose people unnecessarily or not to expose them at all. So I had contact with many people from many different backgrounds. So I decided not to put any pictures of them. So if you look my book, you have some pictures of the places that I live that you don't see anybody, and some of pictures of my pictures that I thought to myself, I need to put my face, because in my next life, if I have contact, what I plan to have contact with this book, I have 2 intraphysical lives in one book. So I have 2 stories of my life in one publication. So this will be very important to me. I want to know my face, how I was. So I did this evaluation of my self-evolution in 6 years in Africa, living according to the conscienciological paradigm until that moment. And doing this comparison with my last intraphysical life. So what have I used to write about that? I use biographies of this personality. I use my autobiography, because anybody can do an autobiography today. You can write about yourself. You can write your timeline from the day you're born until today. You can try to make this threshold before and after conscienciology, and you can publish your autobiography, and you can help your group karma. You can help a lot of people that face the same challenges in your life that you're facing right now. We never know. But if your intention is good, if you want to help, I think it's a good initiative. It's just a suggestion, okay? So what else have I used? Conscientiogram. So I did my conscientiogram more than once, and then I decided to do the conscientiogram of myself in my last intraphysical life, which for me was difficult because I've never seen anybody doing that before. I've seen people talking about that. I asked people, have you done that before? Can you help me? No. So I create a technique for that. If it's not perfect, but I try to do something. And I have my outcomes over there that I think is not the same, because you change a lot from one life to another. But I try to do something that I can compare myself today with myself yesterday, and continue my self-research and keep evolving. I try to compare existential program. Therefore, I didn't have that in my last intraphysical life. It was more kind of mission of life that was more amateur. My past and current achievements and faults and mistakes in life. One thing about biographies is you know what the person did in he or her life or his life, but you don't know exactly intraconsciential how that person works. So that is something you have to rely on retrocognitions. It's not only studying biographies, but rely on retrocognitions is very important for that as well. There's more. To write my autobiography, I focus on the most important events of my life because I cannot write about everything. I just use the timeline, the most important things that happened to me, and I write about that. That's what I did. And focus on the main readers. What and how can I write in a way to clarify and help them? So what is the main purpose to write about me today and myself yesterday? Because what I thought is there's a lot of people today that is investigating, studying more past lives, at least according to the consciential paradigm, in a technical way, without any mysticism, without any of those religious things, nothing about that. That can write people to study seriously because it changes your life a lot. It changes your way. So it's not something simple that, oh, I was that queen or that king or that important person, I did this, I did that. But today you are not that person anymore. So you have to think about that as well. Not only be curious about past lives, but how do I use that in an evolutive way? So in that sense, cosmoethics is important to avoid self-exposure, vanity, and the need of applause. You don't need anybody to do that because the most thing you have is people push you down, not applauding you. That's my experience. So one thing very important when writing, keep a backup of all your files. Fortunately, I never have any problems with my computer or my backups. I always keep everything in different places to avoid to miss any of my records. And do not delete anything. If you write something today that is not suitable to publish anywhere, maybe one day it will be. You never know, just skip it. Because today doesn't make sense, but tomorrow you think, no, this makes sense now. I understand this now. And what happened to me is to review my writing, my book. The people that I thought was the more suitable to do it, the specialist, that person, I thought, no, this is the person. I invite that person to do that. Most of them were not available. They were busy doing something else. So something that was not my first choice was not was the person that really helped me to do that. So it can be happen to you. Some people are not available to do that for you. And the counterflow, during and after the writing, after the publication as well. So a lot of things change in your life. Maybe you need to change your residency, your city or a country. Something happened in your life. That is my experience. Maybe it doesn't happen to you in that same level. Conscientiogram, I think it's very important. The previous and current life that take me 3 years reviewing, that for me is not finished yet. I will never have a final consensus about this because I don't have 100% information of my last intraphysical life. I think something, I don't know, I think I won't get it. But you have a percentage that it does match you today. Your weak traits, your strong traits, you have this percentage that you think, no, this is fine, this is the same. But most of them, I didn't have retrocognition, I didn't have any information in any biography. Again, the lack of help of some specialists and help of a less experienced person. The extra physical pressure all the time. And the self-recycling during the whole process. You feel the relief and the extra physical pressure after the publication. So that happened to me. That is the moment right now. Because after the publication, it was now this is done. What I was intended to write is finished. I was relieved. But at the same time, I feel now the need to recycle. So what I'm doing now, I'm doing conscienciotherapy right now, because self-recycling never ends. So what now? Until now, I've been researching infiltration cosmoetics, my last intraphysical life. So what now? What do I do now? I was feeling like the energy of everybody that I lived, that I had contact last year. And I felt like I was that person. So for me, that was not good. So I had to do something. So I am at this point of my life now. And I keep writing. So I start to write about infiltration cosmoetic. I wrote another bit and another article. So I keep writing all the time. I don't know, it's something that it's my characteristic of putting things in writing. I think it helps. It's a kind of communication that for me it flows, it's natural. So I would like to thank you. And now I want to listen your experiences, your thoughts. What do you think about the presentation? If it helps, if you're writing right now, what you're writing, when you're going to publish, what your difficulties. So who wants to start? Hi, Giuliana.
Hi, Giuliana. How are you?
Fine, and you?
Yeah, I have only more 10 or 15 minutes, but I'd like to ask you, in which way you feel the pressure when you are writing the book, and if after finishing the book, if you still feel pressure, extra-physical pressure, if it is a difference between the time that you are writing and now, or after the publication and so on.
During the writing, the pressure was like, sometimes I couldn't write anything. I had to shut down my mind. I had to sleep during the day. So I slept a lot. I have to shut down my brain. Anytime that I feel like I need to sleep now, I need to shut down, that I did it. And it helped me a lot, because during the writing of the book, I was writing my PhD thesis, which was like crazy, because sometimes I was feeling like, today I need to write a thesis, today is the book. And sometimes I was feeling like my head was like, there was a pressure, like a pressure cook. I couldn't do anything. I was blocked. So sleeping helped, and working the energies, and Penta helped a lot. And after the publication, the pressure was what I'm doing now with my life, because nothing makes sense anymore. So I need to take another direction. So now I ask the help of ISIC, conscienciotherapist, to help me to find out my way, because I don't know. I feel like kind of pressure, you know.
It's like an empty moment now. Or
yes,
yes,
yes, that's exactly right. Empty moment now. I feel exactly like that. It's amazing because I thought after writing the book, something else will happen, like something very clear what to do now, but it's not, at least for me now. I don't know about other writers, but for me,
you still
it's
in
happening that.
Johannesburg? Ne? Are you still in
Yeah.
Johannesburg?
Still in Johannesburg.
Johannesburg, yeah.
Yeah.
Can I
Oh,
just
Giuliana,
say something? If the pressure could be maybe that you had even more pressure because you were doing two things that are so different, right? You were doing a thesis and such a deep book, right? An autobiography. So that was extra because so different things. I remember when I was studying philosophy and at the same time working in international trade, which is the opposite kind of thing.
Wow.
And
Yes,
I felt a lot of pressure also when I was in Concepcion, when I was in studying philosophy. I didn't want to go to work, but I had to. And when I was at work, I said, I'm so tired, I'm not going to study. It was a lot going on.
You were writing at the same time something intraphysical, academic, and something extraphysical and in a paradigm, in a consensual paradigms. So, so different paradigms at the same time. I think it's not easy to connect. Né?
No, and
sorry,
I think
Marcelo.
Some of the pressure that I felt, I think, is more related to the PhD than with the book. Because I never had any crash on my computer. I never lost anything that I was writing. Even in my PhD, nothing happened, but I felt that pressure all the time. And sometimes I knew I was encapsulated.
Giuliana, one question. Did you experience any energetic spring when you just finished the book, or you just went straight to this kind of a what's next?
No, what I experienced in Iguaçu Falls when I was there to release the book at the Mental Somatic Circle and at the hotel, because we're two events to do the whole propaganda of the book and those things. I was feeling so peaceful. I was like, everybody was fine, but not energetic spring. It was like everything was so calm, so pacific. That's what I felt. But when I returned home here, that was another story. That emptiness. What I'm doing now. It was funny because I thought something really good. Now this, I'll arrive now in Joburg, something's gonna happen. No, it's a fairy tale. Not for me. And I asked, I think it was during Mabel's presentation about that. She said, no, it was the same. Nothing different happened. Nothing like, wow, something like, no, normal life. It's just that feeling that this is done. I accomplished that, but now I don't know what to do.
Got it. And another question, Giuliana. You mentioned about some of the typical barriers for the people to start writing. Can you share some of the strategies that you use to overcome some of these barriers?
My main barrier, I think, was the pressure that I felt all the time. But I was not lazy. When it comes to writing, now I don't have this anymore, but for many, many years, I was writing one verbatim after another, where I was like feeling like I need to write. It's like when you are hungry, you need to eat. I was feeling like I need to write now. And I sit and I write articles like in 30 minutes. It was very fast, really fast. But the most difficult thing was the conscientiogram. That was difficult to do, especially when I was doing for the consecutive personality. Because I don't know if I was doing right or not. Because I did that course online, the conscientiogram online. So I have the conscientiogram. I was doing the questions for me and for my past life. And I have the biography on the side. And I was writing, oh, I'm doing this. Let me put this down because I need to write the technique, how I'm doing this. I hope somebody else will do that so we can improve that. Because what I really like to see, let's see, after when you go back to the extra-physical dimension, it's the different conscientiograms along my evolution. Because this is something interesting that I think is interesting. Because I think that conscientiogram that I put in the book is not right for me, but it's something that I presented that nobody did before. It's something that I started that I hope somebody continue that improve that.
Can I just say, I'm going through a similar process in the writing of my book. So I was discussing this week with Luimar from Conscius on how to do this, the cross-check of conscientiograms of both personalities. So you are a pioneer in that.
Doesn't exist. I know.
And now there will be more for sure. But yes, so I started doing this immersion in writing with UNIESCON as well last month. And the day I started, it was very interesting because they suggested, oh, have you done a mind map? So the mind map was done on the first day. On the second day, the spine of the book. On the third day, I started writing the book. So it was a bit crazy, you know, and I haven't stopped yet. So it's very interesting because I feel the extra-physical team comes every day. And so that must be, you know, kind of saying, yes, you're moving in the right direction or something, right? So, and it also involves, as we discussed when you were here in Foz, it also involves another personality from the 19th century Victorian era. Although it's not exactly consecutive because I think I had 2 lives between that life and the current one. 2 short lives. Where one I died almost, you know, a youth, very young, and the second very young as well. But yeah, so we hopefully with that in time we will have a lot more experience on how to do this conscientiogram for this type of studies as well, right? For this type of research.
Yeah,
so,
I think one thing we need to change our minds about publishing a book in conscienciology is to break this myth about writing conscienciology that is something very difficult. I don't think it's difficult if you do your self-research, because this is the main thing on conscienciology, is putting yourself as the objective of the research. Because you have so many barriers in yourself to expose yourself. I was afraid. I almost didn't send my book to editares because when I was prepared to send to them, because I asked some people to review my book before sending to editares. And I was hesitating, like, I'm not sending this book because I think I was not that person. I think I'll be like a fraud. And then I have this for a perception of somebody telling me, you want to give up now? No, I'll send. And then the next day I send the book because I did hesitate, because I was thinking mainly my family, because they didn't know about my research, about past lives, about everything I was doing. And after the publication, after return from Foz, before I return Rome, I visit my family in Mojimirim, São Paulo. And I told them I'm going to Iguaçu Falls to release my book. Oh, really? Are you bringing the book for us? I said, yes. And then I showed them the book. What is this book about? I said, it's about my life in Africa and my past life in Africa. Ah, really? And then my father started to read the book. He said, Giuliana, you're very intelligent. That book is very interesting. I said, oh, good. At least everybody's fine, because it was something that they wouldn't talk to me. They would think that I was crazy, that I need some psychiatric treatment. I don't know. Because they are religious, they're Catholics. So they accept it very well. I was surprised. I really was, because I didn't elaborate and try to prepare them. I just showed the book because I didn't know what to do. Because how many people do you know that published a book in person? We don't know many people. We don't know many people. And when you tell your family, I published a book, it's like my sister said, Giuliana, you plant a tree that I don't remember when I did that. And now we wrote a book. So you did two things that everybody should do it. I said, really? I said, okay. But it was good. It was a very good experience. Yeah.
Yeah, it's that we shouldn't die before doing this both things, no? Plant a tree and write a book.
I really don't remember the tree.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But it was a good experience, I can tell you. Writing a verbete and going to Iguaçu Falls to present your ideas, to share your experience, to expose yourself is something that really, really worth it. Publishing a book is another thing. So I recommend to everybody to do those things if you could. And I'm sure you all can do that. We are all able to write. Good or bad, doesn't matter. Somebody else will help you. The editors, the reviewers, they will do that. Don't be afraid of that. They won't let you publish something that doesn't make any sense, that is silly, or that it won't help people, or that you damage your character. I'm sure they won't do that. And it's something that you can access in your next life. So think about that. I think it's quite important. Who else? So what are you writing? Is somebody writing something at this moment? Or intend to start to write? What are your plans? Because this pandemic provides everybody, a lot of people to reflect about life and write, make notes.
And I was thinking from the presentations we've had so far, that it's been very helpful, hopefully for many of you. It has been for me, because it has helped to exactly try to overcome. I've been in what they call the writer's block for years, and now all of a sudden it's like a tap that has opened, you know. And it's so this is something that these presentations, the people talking, the people sharing with us, you know, the ideas, and exactly that, you know, you need to overcome. For me, it was pretty much, okay, I don't want to, whatever I write, I keep, but I don't want to publish anything because I don't want the critics. Because I think that has to do with the past life where I wrote and I had a lot of criticism, and I kept writing to try to overcome that criticism, and and then there was things, you know, about religion and the fallout with religion, but then it was a fallout that was from, it was like a pendulum from religion to the exact opposite, to materialism. And now it's after the intermissive course, I understand why the character had a, you know, a tick. Yes, you can go to the intermissive course. And now after the intermissive course, you have to, you know, you're finding your way through conscientiology and putting back things in the right path. So now I value my parapsychism. Now I start to trust more the helpers and the inspirations and the intuitions that I have, which I never trusted before. And things then start flowing a bit more because you are more open to the extra-physical as well. And that helps a lot, I think, in the whole process, right? And it's one of the characteristics that some of us or all of us probably have, and I have too, is this mental somatic parapsychism. So if you connect through that, you get a lot of insights, a lot of direction, a lot of you know, it's a different story because it's never you, just you alone doing this.
Yeah.
It's never you alone.
But I think most important than people criticism that it will happen anyway, because people talk. It's the human being nature to do that. Think about your evolutionary structure. When you return to the extra-physical dimension, hey Liliana, where's your book? You didn't write because you're so concerned about other people. So I think I would be ashamed of that. Because people will talk, they talk anyway. If you are tall, if you are good, if you are bad, they will talk anyway. And think on people that you will help, that you couldn't help it because of yourself, because something is silly. Yeah. Others' opinion are important. We need to take into consideration, but when they are constructive, if they're not, just put them aside.
Yes, that's totally true. I mean, that's the thing that that you have to overcome probably first. Well, in my case as well, you know, it's like, yeah, whatever, you know, think whatever you want. I'll still move on and do my thing, do what I need to do.
Try to do your best.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to share something. I was never someone that could write very well, okay? Like Portuguese at the school, it was one of my worst subjects. Always to write any letter or anything would kind of struggle. Okay, so what I have been doing is really to connect with people that write and like having like a writing workshops, like the one that Paulo Freire does on Sundays, and trying to connect with people that can help me to overcome this this barrier that I have. And then I could feel that as you continue practicing, you get a little bit better on it over the time. Okay, lots to go, but sometimes with getting, it's like the groupality. Okay, getting with the group and helping each other to overcome something that it's sometimes it looks to you that's the initial barrier, but that's something that you can manage it.
Yeah, but look, you're good in languages. You speak English very well. Do you write very well in English? Maybe you can start writing English.
Yeah, that's something that Liliana will tease me about that and challenge me about that. Okay.
That's an idea, but imagine this, Marcelo. Imagine that for some reason it's easier for you to write in English than Portuguese. I am writing my book in English, and then I will translate it to Portuguese. I'll do the other way around because I find it easier to to flow with and it has to do with this other personality, right? So it's been many lives in England. So yeah, let's do that. You know, And that's what we need. We need more books in other languages. So it's also the essentiality is also there. You can do the opposite. You try to write it in English and French or Spanish, and then afterwards it will get translated to Portuguese as well. So doing the opposite movement is also very interesting.
That's something that I haven't tried, Lily.
Just try. Like Nike says, just do it and see what happens. Because you do get different, sometimes it will be different equipex, right? But it's
Don't
also a
worry
very
about,
interesting experience.
don't worry about language, provided that you have no knowledge about, you think well, just do it. I agree. Language, we'll see it about it. We'll see about it later. Okay. Don't worry.
That's the reviews are there for.
Yes, absolutely.
I think writing conscientiology in English will become something more common, because yesterday the second edition of the conscientiological glossary was out. There was a live. So the terms now are published, so they are like now formal. So 10 years ago, we didn't have anything. We didn't have many conscientiological books in English. So it's something that I think is increasing, and it will happen more in the future.
So we have here in the room some translators that are translating books into English or have done so. So this is also very good. And you know, it's all changing that, yes. So we are doing the thesaurus in English. These thesaurus will have 3,000 terms already in Portuguese, Spanish, Italian, French, German, and then the thesaurus is English, but we'll already have all these neologisms in all these languages. So yes, we need to incentivize now more people writing in their own languages, and then we translate into Portuguese.
But I think the language, it might be an excuse, because I know a lot of people, they don't write verbatim because they don't want to be at tertulias talking about that, because people make personal questions. How did you do that? What are your challenges? What is your experience? It's all about yourself. Some people are afraid of that.
And it's something, when you talk about verbatim, that's something that you need to go through it and try it. Like I used to watch the tertulias, and then I had for some time difficulties about reading the verbatims, until one day I decided to do one. And then I started reading the manual about verbatography, and then I started to writing it. And now it's in revision, waiting for the time that they'll call me to defend it. But it's it's a process. I think that as you go through the process, I think that you're going to have a better understanding instead of just watching. One thing, it's just like playing the game. One thing is to be on the audience and looking for the tennis player, and the other one is to go to the court and try to play tennis. That's a different learning.
But look, the first time I watched a tertulia, I thought to myself, this is not for me. It was so intellectual. And I thought, I was not that intellectual at all. And when I did the course online. And then when I was there to defend my first rabbit, I was so nervous, so nervous.
And you've already done it 18 times, right?
And I have one under revision at the moment. So I never thought that was for me. Never. And I enjoyed a lot the whole experience.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yes, I just want to, once we were talking about the glossary and thesaurus will take a bit longer, but to remind whoever is interested that all these books that we already have in English, hopefully next year we'll have more, but the books that we have in English will be or are available always at Amazon, any Amazon around the world, right? The magazines, Interparadigmas is also in Amazon. So the one that that has stuff in English, you know, articles in English is also in Amazon. So that more people can access. And I would also mention that it's very interesting. We are going to have the first books in Romanian published by Editares. Okay. And the books in Romanian are exactly, the translations are based on the Portuguese version of the book and the English version of the book. So these are the two main languages that then can help many other languages to go from there to build the neologisms in other languages and stuff like that. So this is also very good news because we will have 5 books in Romanian. Most of them, 5 books, most of them from Dr. Vieira. We will have Penta Manual, Proexis Manual, Our Evolution, Zephyrus, and Intermissive Course. They are all translated already, and most of them, 4 of them already revised. So the Romanians are, it's so good.
Liliana, where can I find these books? At Editares, on the site, website of Editares, or where can I find?
You mean the Romanian books?
Romanian, yes.
Yeah. Okay, they are not out yet. I am receiving now the PDFs, and I'm sending to Editares to go to the process of diagramming and stuff. But hopefully we will be able to publish at least one still this year, or more than one, and then next year. So the thing is, they are translated and they are revised. You know, 4 of 5 at least, they are revised. So they can now go through the process of diagramming, you know, proofreading, and then coming out.
And where can I get the information on which website? On the Editares website, also about the books who are translated into English? Where can I find that?
Yes, at the back of each book that we are publishing now, we have the list of all the books that we already have in English. But Elke, if you want, I can do you a list of the books and send to you.
Yes, I would like, yes. Yeah,
okay.
I give you my email address and then I...
Yes, yes. Yeah. You can put here in the chat or in the, if you have the WhatsApp or something, and I'll send you the list.
Yeah,
you know,
because if I look to Amazon, I have to know the title, the English title, and I...
Yeah, sure.
That's why.
Yeah.
Okay.
We already have like at least some 14 books in English.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I just read the intermissive course and this was very, very good. So I like it.
Yeah, very good.
So for those who are interested, besides Elke, I put the link for the print on demand and the ebook on Amazon and this Brazilian online store. One book, livro in Portuguese. So I put on the chat if you want to copy the link and just go through this, all the ebooks that Editares have published so far.
Okay, and I can send you, whoever is interested, I can send you the list of the books that we already have in English, and, you know, and soon we will have some in Spanish as well.
So, more questions? Contributions?
What will your next book be about?
Cosmoetic infiltration. I did start to write, but let's see. I hope it doesn't take so long at this time to write. Yeah, let's see.
I think you could write it directly, write directly a book about it, not verbits, nor neither verbits nor article. Why not?
No, now it will be the book. Yeah, if there is more verbatim, let's see during the writing, because I did that writing my book. I was writing my book. I had ideas to write verbatims. I did write verbatims. It was a lot of writing at the same time.
Yes, it's our experience, but there are some authors who write directly a book because I think that many people don't are not aware that they have knowledge already enough to write a book directly.
Yeah, it depends. I think writing a book, it was a compilation of writing a lot of things before. So you can use those verbatims, articles, and compile everything in a book in a different format with more information, with, you know, updated information, because some of the verbatims that I wrote, I think today that I could write better today. I would write in a different way today. It did happen when I read my verbatims that I used in my book. I thought to myself, I could write this better or add this or that information. But at that time, I didn't have that idea. So I put in the book. Yeah. It was not, some people write the book. I have previous writings before the book. It's a technique that you can use as well.
It can be a technique, and can also be for some of us that we are, like in my case, in a totally different moment of my life. So I feel it's got to be more of a trajectory, and it kind of fits better, you know, a book. And if something else comes along in the middle, that's fine. But you know, in this phase of my life, I think it's more about, okay, because I feel it's a lot. What is it that you haven't done yet in conscientiology? It's this idea that I had, that is one of the first ideas that I had when I had this, when I was young, and I was thinking, I came to do an important thing, but I don't remember what it is. And then after thinking a lot about this, I thought, oh, could it be writing a book? You said, no, or at least it's not just that, it's a lot more. And so I did a lot more, but I didn't write the book. Yeah. So maybe now that's what is missing.
And look, living abroad today or not living in Iguazu Falls is not an excuse to write. There's a lot, plenty of material online. Much more than, I say 10 years ago, because that was when I had the first contact with conscientiology. And during this pandemic, wow, we don't know what to watch in conscientiology. There's so many
it's
options.
Just lives everywhere, every time, you know, it's
all the time, all the time, every day.
Yeah.
That's a good problem, I would say.
It is a good problem, but you want to watch everything, you can't.
You need to prioritize.
Yeah. So yeah, that's true.
Yes,
I have one question. First of all, thank you, very interesting presentation. And my question is regarding the prioritization, because we have a lot of interesting subjects. In my case, I start to research and read something, and then I see another thing also interesting. Do you have any suggestion to prioritize and see what we should focus and how to don't get crazy with a lot of interesting topics?
Yeah.
Something like
I would focus what is aligned with my self-research, because as I said, I was writing about consciential autonomy, that I get stuck, then I stop it. So after a while, then I had this suggestion from consciousness that write about your experiences, because yes, there's a lot of many interesting things in conscientiology, and you can get lost or without direction, but try to find what is aligned with your self-research, and maybe do a 5 hours reflection technique. You can reflect about 2 or 3 subjects that you didn't have, you are not quite right about it, and make a decision. You can use this technique as well.
Okay, good, thank you.
You're welcome.
I think that one of the challenges that we have is to try and find what is also our specialty. Kind of, when I came to FOS and in a first dynamic that I did, people, so what is your specialty? You say, oh, do I have a specialty? Oh, I
like
didn't
it
know.
was something very easy to find.
Yes, exactly. And what was your specialty in the admissive course? Oh, did I have one? So it's a challenge, right? And I had never thought about it. So it's one of the things then I started thinking about it. And you kind of, you know, it's also a process of finding. But one of the things that helped me, well, many courses at Consecutivos helped me to identify this. And one of them is one of the recent ones that Diana Rossa gave about mega strong traits. This course, because an important thing is that you find your strong traits, because that's something that it's coming from many lives, and you've been working on that, and by now you're good at something, and sometimes you cannot identify the things you are good at. So it's important to find that, because it's with that you are going to solve your other problems, your weak traits, find your absent traits, and all that. So this is a process of finding, okay, you are already a specialist probably in something, and it's so easy to you that you're not aware of it. You don't, or for me, it was very much a difficulty of putting a name to the thing. Okay, I do, some things are easier for me, but I don't have a name for them. So I found all that in a number of courses that I did with Consecutivos. And at the same time, this gives you a CEAEC-ology, you know, everything is found, and you understand where, you can understand where I got this trait and this other, in which life I use this and this and this until the moment today. And that helps you then, when you will understand where you are today, you can move with a lot more confidence in the future as well, right?
Yeah, we're talking a lot about past lives, because I gave my example as well. Yeah. But for many people, they struggle with their group karma. Maybe they can write about the group karma, you know, in a specific ethnicity, or I don't know, a country or a background, a specific background. They can also be something like that. You never know. So I think that's it, Liliana.
Yes, we are about to come to the finish.
To the end,
To the end. I thank you very, very much for your presentation. It was lovely, our chat, very good, very open. And I want to thank everyone that participated as well, and everyone that asked questions and had things to share. It's very, very good. And I would like to remind people that our next presentation will be in October the 25th. So that's a Sunday as well, right? Same time, same Zoom link, I think. 25th of October, that will be with Deborah Klippel. And I still don't know the subject, but I will soon, and I will let you know.
It's about writing.
It is about writing, right? It's got to be about writing. Okay. So, yeah.
I would like to thank everybody. I hope to help you in some way in your process of writing. I apologize for my allergy all the time with the tissue. But it's very dry here in Joburg, very dusty. So I hope to see you, to read your book, your articles, to see you in the tertulias. And I hope you enjoy writing, because I did enjoy a lot, and it did help me a lot to write in conscientiology. So I hope the same happens to you, or even better experiences. Okay, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Very nice end of Sunday and a very good week further.
Thank you so much, Giuliana. It was a pleasure.
Okay. Pleasure.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye-bye, dear.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye. Nice to see you.